Good evening, fellow vapors. This is Cass, and today I'm back at you with another juice review. Yes, today we're going to be looking at another flavour in the range from Ohm Baked. Last time we looked at that apple and rhubarb crumble, and it was absolutely insane. Today we're going to be looking at another flavour from that range, and today's flavour is their Cherry Bakewell. There's the bottle. Lovely design on it again. They've really gone all out on the designs on these bottles. They look really clean, they're really interesting, and I love the sort of super vibrant colours on them. So let's do what we normally do and have a look online to see what they say about the e-liquid. We'll have a vape of it and then we'll break it down and we'll talk about it. I haven't really tried this. I've had like maybe a couple of puffs on it, if that. Let's have a look at what they say online. Okay then, so they say one of the most iconic items on the bakery menu is now available as an e-liquid. Cherry Bakewell Tart by Ohm Baked brings together light almond-infused sponge, sugary sweet icing and delicious raspberry jam. With a cherry on top, of course. Try Cherry Bakewell Tart by Ohm Baked today and fall in love all over again with this true British classic. I have tried quite a few Cherry Bakewell Tart flavours. Some have been wonderful, some have been average, some have been terrible. And you know the bit that always ruins it is the cherry on top. Yeah, nobody ever seems to get that right. Today's setup is going to be the Vulcan 1 mech mod. I've just put out a review on this, so I will put the link to that review in this description. Absolutely lovely mod. I'm fallen completely in love with this mod, and I have the Alpha RDA on top. So let's have a vape. This is the Cherry Bakewell Tart by Ohm Baked. Wow, that is a lovely flavour. Immediately, the first thing I notice off this is that it is a much subtler flavour than the apple and rhubarb crumble. Much, much subtler. Where that last one sort of smacked you about the face with incredible flavour, this one sort of whispers in your ear with the flavour. The first hit you get immediately is this sort of almond icing-y flavour, and you've got a sort of undertone of that wonderfully cakey, biscuity base that you would get from a Cherry Bakewell tart. On the exhale, you still get more of that almond icing, but it's tinged with this really sweet, fruity cherry. Now, it's a refreshing change for the cherry not to taste a bit like mess. Cherry is such a hard flavour to get right, and so many companies get it so wrong. And this one is actually spot on. It's a really nice cherry, and I think the reason it works so well is because it's so subtle. And that's the way a lot of companies go wrong. They go for this really strong cherry, and it just absolutely ruins the flavour. But what these guys seem to have worked on is that sweet icing, the almonds, that sort of cakey, biscuity base that comes in a Bakewell tart. That is absolutely spot on with this. It's not a particularly heavy flavour. It almost sort of... it leans towards that fruity, creamy end of the spectrum more than it does the cakey end of the spectrum. And for that, it means that it's not so heavy, it's not so overpowering. But because it leans that way and it's not all cakey, it also doesn't mean that it's going to become bland the more you vape it. I think that icing and that cream and that sweet almond cherry mix is enough to keep it interesting the whole way through. Now, I did end up vaping that entire bottle of apple and rhubarb crumble, and it didn't lose its flavour one iota. It stayed exactly the same all the way through. It wasn't different in any way. It didn't lose its flavour, which was, you know, an added bonus to the fact that it tasted so good. And this one, I think, even though it is much, much subtler, and when I mean subtle, I mean really quite subtle, again, it's not going to lose that flavour. You're going to enjoy it because you've got that interesting mix. And I think if you vape it, some days you're going to taste some more of that fruit, creamy almond mix. The other days you're going to taste more biscuity, creamy mix. I think if you vape it hot, really hot, you're going to get a lot more cream and cake. And if you vape it slightly cooler, that cherry is going to come through a lot more. But it's not the sort of cherry that you would be put off by having. That is what the winner with this juice is here, is that it's so subtle and the mix is so delicate, but everything is there throughout the vape. Like I say, on the inhale, you get that you get that icing almond flavour and a bit of that cakiness. On the exhale, it's all sweet cherry and niceness that you want from a Cherry Bakewell tart. And the thing with a Cherry Bakewell tart is you always want it to leave a really nice taste in your mouth afterwards, and this one does. I'm going to have another quick vape of it, and I'm going to talk about it a little bit more. That time I got a lot more of the almond flavour, that almond icing flavour. The cherry wasn't so present in that second time around, and the cake was sort of backed off a little bit from there. Now maybe that's because my wicks are starting to bed in a little bit more, and so this is very much a in-depth first impression. I've had a couple of puffs on it, but I haven't really thought about it very hard when I have. So this is what I would say is that real first in-depth take a look at it impression, and it's lovely. It's really lovely. If it's anything like the apple and rhubarb crumble, it won't be a coil killer. The apple and rhubarb crumble stayed really clean the whole way through. In fact, I think I did the whole bottle in one set of wicks. It's that clean. Absolutely an all-day vape. So this one I think is going to be as well, and because that cherry is not overpowering and the cake isn't too much and it's not too heavy, this one won't become a heavy vape. This one I think you would be able to vape all day. Now I believe there's a chocolate brownie milkshake in this range, and I can't see that being an all-day vape. I mean, I will try it and I will find out, but I can't see that sort of flavour being that. But this one absolutely doesn't kill your coils. It's nice and smooth. The vapour is really nice and dense. The flavour is absolutely spot on. I would keep, if you're using an RDA, keep that topped up. As it starts to get dry, you tend to lose a little bit more of that sort of richness that you seem to be getting. This Cherry Bakewell really brings that to the table. You're getting a rich flavour, but it's very subtly mixed. That's the best way I can probably describe it. This one is an absolutely stonking second juice from these guys. Now I know they released them all at once, but this is the second one I've tried, and so far I've not been disappointed. I'd love to get my hands on another bottle of that apple and rhubarb crumble. I'm gonna be buying some more of this Cherry Bakewell. This one's I've actually borrowed off a very good friend of mine, a guy called Diddy. I've actually borrowed it off him for the purposes of this review, simply because he had some on him and I wanted to get my hands on it, and he said, here you go, have a bottle. Just don't use too much of it. So, sorry Diddy, I can't promise that, but we'll see. He will get most of his bottle back. This is an absolutely stonking juice from these guys. These guys, I believe this juice is made by Double Drip. I believe this is a new range from Double Drip. Now, whilst I'm not the biggest fan of some of the Double Drip flavours, for them to come out with a dessert range that at the moment is blowing all the other comparative dessert flavours out of the water is very impressive. It's not harsh in any way. It's not overly sweet in any way. It doesn't lose its flavour. It's not a coil killer. It's like the perfect storm of the things that you want to be in your vape liquid. That's probably the best way I can describe this juice. I absolutely would suggest going out and picking up a bottle. Price point, you're kind of looking at $13.99 a bottle, $14.99, depending on when you get it. I've seen bottles for 12 quid online. I've seen them for 15 quid online. So shop around because you can get a decent price for this. Obviously, it comes as a 50ml short fill where you add your nick shot. I haven't seen it in 10ml bottles, so I probably wouldn't bother looking. But that might be wrong. I'm sure the guys at Ohm Baked will tell me if I am wrong. And I think that about wraps it up for this juice. Definitely one to check out. Definitely one to at least get yourself a bottle of, simply because it's a bloody lovely Cherry Bakewell, and there are very few and far between. I've tried probably 4 or 5, and none of them have. A couple of them have been okay. None of them have blown me out of the water. So yeah, really enjoyed this one. And I think that about wraps this video up. My name has been Cass. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please hit that subscribe button, drop a comment below and give the video a thumbs up. Don't forget to turn on your notification bell. That is very important, and that way you'll see when I upload videos. At the moment I'm uploading sort of twice a week-ish, depending on when I've got products to review and when I've got time to make these reviews. But yeah, keep an eye out because there's loads of videos coming up. Thank you again for watching. My name has been Cass, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye bye.